What happened with Ben?
He tried to kiss me.
And?
And I'm sorry, are you kidding me right now? Are you actually serious? Oh, wow.
Great conversation, Rebecca. Way to hash this out.
First time in years that I had something for myself. The first time in years that I want...
Say it.
No.
No, go ahead and say it. First time in years what? That you were fulfilled? Go ahead and say it out loud. That we don't fulfill you. Go ahead and say it out loud that your life is...
I have no life. I have zero life, Jack. I am a housewife to 3 teenagers who do not need me anymore. And I have a husband who waltzes in every night at 8 o'clock, if I'm lucky, goes to the kitchen, recaps his day for me, and then passes out upstairs at 10 o'clock. I have no life. I am a freaking ghost.
Wow, you know what? That is something.
No. Admit to me that you hated the fact that I had something happening for myself.
I hated that you lied about working with your ex-boyfriend.
No, that's total BS, Jack. You hated the fact that I was singing.
I was fine with it.
You didn't want me to have a career. You never
career?
did.
You are a 40-year-old woman singing covers in pubs. That is not a career, Rebecca. That is ridiculous. And the fact that I am supporting this family financially and emotionally, and still I am being attacked for not being supportive, that makes me want to ram my head through a damn wall.
Wow. Let your father out, Jack. Let him out. Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't it feel good to let go of the whole Mr. Perfect charade?
I have always given you everything that you wanted. I have sacrificed for this family, yet you don't know that half of the load that I have had to carry.
For you to make every single decision for this
you don't
family
know what I've given up. You don't know the things that I've had to do, the crap that I've had to eat.
And I follow.
I devoted my life to you so that you can have a life. And you threw it in my face. How dare you?
It is absolutely ridiculous.
You know, this is insane. This is insane. We love each other.
What do you love about me?
Huh?
What do you love about me? Tell me. The me as I am right now, not the me that you've conjured up in your mind over the years. What do you love about me right now, Jack? So the next time you tell me that you love me, make sure you're not doing it just out of habit.
Okay, so this is one thing where I'll say I like about this clip. This is what you do not do in a marriage when you want to have an argument. This is what you do. You do the exact opposite of this. So always talk about checking in with your spouse, right? Now, that's up to you, kind of check-ins you want to do, weekly, monthly, periodically, like every 2-3 months, whatever the case may be, right? So in the clip where she says she doesn't have a life, she feels like she's a ghost. If there were check-ins, he would know how she felt and she could have found something to do. Granted, this part is a little bit of a time period piece where I think this is probably in the 90s. I'm thinking 80s, 90s, right? Since she does like to sing, she could have tried to do something when she felt that way earlier on and not wait to have everything ball up and then just spit everything out that she has an issue with, right? And when it comes to, I didn't like how he was kind of cutting her down as far as like, when she said, I have a career, and he like, this is not a career. You're a 40-year-old woman singing in pubs, right? He didn't have to go that route. He didn't have to say that. He could have put it in a different type of way, but I didn't like that where it's like, you're taking like pot shots at your wife, and it wasn't even necessary. Granted, they were both upset, and he is kind of drunk in this scene. So that's another thing when you're having an argument. You want to make sure you're not at that stage where they're at, where they're like, okay, I'm upset. And I'm not thinking as clear as I should be to have this type of conversation. And when Rebecca was egging him on as far as, go ahead, let him out, let your father out, because his father's abusive on the show, verbally abusive. If you know he had a certain type of childhood, don't bring that part up in the conversation of this argument. Because one, that's going to be tit for tat, going back and forth with insulting each other, pushing each other's buttons, knowing there's certain buttons that your spouse know they can push to get a certain reaction out of you. And the most important part of the clip for me was at the end where they're going back and forth. Yes, they hear each other, but they're not hearing each other, right? So they're speaking at the same time, and they're just they're listening to react, right? So it's not listening like, okay, I hear where you're coming from. This is how I feel. And it's like most relationships, I don't want to say marriages, relationships are like this if you don't know how to communicate effectively. So if you're in this type of relationship where you're yelling, constantly yelling whenever you guys get in an argument, that's not healthy. So as I always say, when you have a disagreement or you're angry, take a beat. However long it takes for you to calm down, come back to the table, have that discussion with a clear head.
So first and foremost, I'm going to bring up the one issue that I do have with this. If I understand correctly, Rebecca had a show with the ex-boyfriend, and apparently there was almost a move for a kiss. That's probably the only issue I have, okay? Do you have to work with an ex? Is that the only way this is going to happen? Because if it is, I feel this is still worth having a conversation. Like Jay has said, check in. If you work with this person, are there still feelings hovering? Because if there are, then that's going to be another conversation right away, follow-up questions. But if that's not the case, all right. So the other point to bring up is when she mentioned she has no life because she's been raising 3 kids that are not teenagers. I have a teenager, Jay has a teenager. On my end, my teen, he's kind of getting his independence. He doesn't need us as much. So my wife now, she's a stay-at-home mom, just like Rebecca is. She has mentioned, hey, I haven't had anything for myself in a while. I haven't been me as my person. I've been continually mom and wife. So now that I have a little bit of time, I like to be able to do something here and there. That's understandable because for the most part, I can understand Rebecca saying that she is a ghost because my older son and myself, we can fend for ourselves when it comes to the house, eating, doing our chores and whatnot. We can do that. So I understand that part. Of course, on my end, I do have a special needs child, so my wife does spend the majority of her time with him, being able to just take care of him and his needs. No, Rebecca needed a night just to go singing, then by all means, just if this is what can get you to be yourself, then go ahead. I mentioned the only thing I had was the ex-boyfriend. At the same time, towards the end, when she was questioning if he still loved her and why, and he couldn't answer, and she did put out there, don't say it just because of habit, okay? Have reasons for it. This is why Jay has always said, and it makes sense, have check-ins. Always talk to your partner whenever you can, whether it's daily, weekly, and just find out, hey, how you feeling? How you still feeling about us? How do you feel about the marriage? This is why. Otherwise, like Jay mentioned, it's just going to be everything coming to a boiling point, and that's what happened here. She's probably had this for so long that he drew it out of her and she let it out. Is this the way to have an argument? No, it's not always going to be calm conversation. I get that, all right? There's going to be passion, especially if one person's not hearing your side or both of you are just not hearing each other. You just want to say what you want to say. It's not always easy to try to figure out the best way to come together, talk about the issues, and then come to a conclusion and a compromise, somewhere where both of you can meet in the middle. That's not realistic, okay? So this clip is, it kind of puts it out there, how people argue. Does it suck? Yeah, I was waiting for the kids to wake up because they were really loud. And that's also reality. Like Jay brought up, neither one of them had to throw shade at each other. That was just, you realized at that point, you just wanted to take the jabs. Because when that happens, it's because you're not necessarily getting your way or feeling like you're being heard. And both of them had that moment because they didn't feel that way. And in the heat of the moment, that's probably right. You're not going to hear each other for what they're saying. You're just focused on what you want to get across. So, a very realistic argument. It sucks that it happens, but again, hopefully, calmer heads can prevail at the end. And if it can't be the same day or same night, then you may have to take a day. Unfortunately, there are people that can't sleep or can't get to that next day without being tired or just thinking about it. That's how my wife is. She always says, let's just get this out of the way and figure it out. Otherwise, she's not going to sleep. So just do your best. That's all you can do, so you can stay married, and hopefully you have a good reason why you still love each other after all these years. Hey somebodies, come check out my channel where I give you my candid thoughts and opinions on various topics and weird news reports. So stop by for some tomfoolery and ballyhoo. Cute little guy, eh?